Okay, so this is not a story about climate change, okay? But this is a story about disaster management. And I chose this particular project because it tells us how do we manage a disaster. And so most of you are familiar with the disaster management cycle. How do we go from the disaster? How do we respond? How do we recover? How do we prepare so that for the next disaster, God forbid that it will come, how do we prepare for that? And of course, the mitigation has to do, how do we do things differently? How do we build back better?
Hi, Denellen.
Hi, Derval.
After weeks of planning, we are finally here for CW4CJ 2025. How do you feel?
And I'm sure the whole world can see me grinning from ear to ear because finally we are at day one of the culmination of this process, sowing seeds of sustainable solutions. I'm so grateful that we've been able to curate a space where we can spotlight women-led solutions and also center lived experiences as expertise, as is the case for our women in the Caribbean and beyond.
You know, in 2022, we created a space to explore the intersection of climate and gender justice. And we're back here today to showcase the lived experience of Caribbean women confronting climate impacts and also working to dismantle inequalities. We showcase women, youth, and our allies beyond vulnerability, because we know that's a big part of the Caribbean experience, but we're showcasing them as experts, activists, policymakers, and community leaders. So we're here to honor Indigenous knowledge and homegrown solutions. So as we return, we're also expanding our scope beyond the Caribbean to the global south so that we can learn from each other and support each other in our pursuit of equity. So,
Right.
Denellen, I am eternally grateful to you, the Global Yadi, for coming on board in an even greater capacity this year, knowing that you have been a contributor since the inception of CW4CJ. And, you know, your energy and your focus has been invaluable through the weeks of planning.
Thank you, Derval. Let me give you your flowers as well. I have the utmost gratitude for you as a co-organizer. And so I'm happy to move up from the passenger seat of CW4CJ into the co-pilot seat with you in the cockpit. And so I want to thank you for your vision, your dedication, and your energy. And also, you know, take the opportunity to appreciate the elevation of our partnership and as well highlight our supporters and our sponsors. So let me also say thank you to Girls Gear for their ongoing partnership and believe in the importance of creating spaces for women and youth in climate advocacy, and to our generous sponsors, Clara Lionel Foundation, whose generous support has made this year's conference possible. We want to thank you for investing in climate justice in the areas where they matter. And let me also say thank you to our wonderful community co-sponsors of C4WCJ, CW4CJ, who have helped to amplify the space across the region, the posting, the sharing, the promoting in the network, the people jumping on board, the solidarity and the community and the collaboration. This is all what it is about, culminating in this way. So I am really grateful that we're doing exactly what we set out through the theme, sowing seeds of sustainable solution. It's not just about the work that we do, but the way in which we do it collectively around solidarity and shared action together.
Yes. And I also must mention and acknowledge Oro Fraser, who has been instrumental since CW4CJ in 2022. I'm really excited about our carefully selected speakers as they bring to us their insights and their perspectives on the dimensions of resilience, and as we unpack, you know, the leadership experience as women functioning in this space.
Absolutely. I'm always curious to know where our audience is from. And so I can see the comments on screen, people greeting each other in the chat. So we love the engagement already. So make sure that you're staying engaged, making a note of the presentations that are about to take center stage. And so we want the engagement happening in the chat at the end. But feel free to drop a flag and to shout out. I see a Trini flag already. I know Jamaica is representing. I see Tarika Drizdale and Emma. They want to get into trouble by calling out all the names. But welcome everyone, and please send the messages, send the reminders for others to join us in this space this evening. All right, so I see it's carnival time in there. I see Jamaican flag, Guyana flag, Trini flags all over. So welcome one and all. Invite more people to join. So I don't know about you, Derval. Are you ready to get things underway?
Definitely. Let's go.
All right.
So the moment we've all been waiting for, we're about to jump straight into today's proceedings, and I have the honor of introducing our moderator for this evening's session. Ms. Doreen Clark is a Jamaican environmental scientist and climate advocate, currently based in Barbados. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Meteorology and Environmental Science from the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus, and is pursuing a Master of Science in Climate Studies with a focus on coastline management. Doreen has contributed to climate resilience initiatives through internships with the Barbados and Turks and Caicos Meteorological Services, working on climate bulletins, energy warning systems, and disaster mitigation projects across the Caribbean. Doreen is the founder of Youth Climate Voice Caribbean, and Doreen leads youth-driven efforts to raise awareness and drive action on climate change, sustainability, and ocean resilience. Welcome, Doreen.
All right. Good night, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much, Derval. Thank you so much, Dana Lynn. You guys are doing an awesome job. So now that we've set the stage, now it's time to hear from the voices that truly matters. The women and leaders who are out there every day, every second, every minute, turning their ideas into action. Each of them bring a different perspective, a different story, but one of the things they all share tonight is a deep commitment to resilience and justice. As we listen to them, think about how seeds can grow in your own context. This year's theme is powerful, sowing seeds of sustainable solutions. And in the Caribbean, we know about planting seeds. Whether you plant seeds in your backyard, in your community, or in our movements, one thing we should all remember, when women plant seeds, they don't just grow food, they grow resilience, they grow networks, and most importantly, they grow legacies. With that, let's move into our panel discussion. Our first panelist for this evening, Dr. Paula Henry. Dr. Henry is a primary care physician and public health practitioner advocating for policy-driven solutions to climate change, currently serving as regional lead for women and family medicine at WONCA. Her presentation will focus on vulnerability and recovery in earthquake response. Dr. Henry, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Doreen. It is really a pleasure to be here. As a matter of fact, I feel very honored to be among so many prestigious women, and all of us are doing the same thing. I also want to welcome the people who are listening in, because obviously they are also part of the journey. I just want everybody to know that I'm a primary care doctor, so I look at everything from primary care, looking at prevention from the very beginning. So I always speak with that voice, a voice of prevention. How do we prevent things from actually happening? And I'm going to present today on a story of resilience, that is Haiti. Okay, well, on the top part of this slide is our logo, Haiti Foundation, a combination of the first part, Hey, which is for Haiti and TNT, Trinidad and Tobago. And our story is called Rising from the Rubble to Shine Once More. And of course, the rubble was the 2010 earthquake that shook Haiti. Right, so these are our children that we have from Haiti. These are actual pictures of our children. And this is at the end of the project after the school was opened. So this is everybody knows about this earthquake, and everybody knows pictures of this. So this is the orphanage. So so this is our orphanage, and you know what it looks like now. Don't forget the picture. So let's go on to the next slide. I went in 2010 in Haiti. I was part of a medical team. I went there, right, as part of the Clooney sisters. You see that nun there? Okay, part of the St. Joseph Convent Sisters, because I was asked to restore the medical health center that they ran there. And of course, it was a very painful time because to go to the clinic, you'd have to find children screaming in pain because they were damaged by the earthquake. And I sat there and I said, Lord, no, this cannot continue. These children can be my children. Do something, do something. So of course, that was March of 2010. I went back home, and there you see, this is next to me. You can't see me, but this is me on the left-hand side right there. Next to me, that is Tanika. Tanika was our attorney. She said, Dr. Henry, you just can't do things just so. You need to form an organization. And so we formed the organization, AT&T Foundation. And yes, that is the foundation that we did, based in Trinidad and Tobago, that we were the initiators and the founders of what we were going to do. And this is my team. I want to big up my team because they are my team of managers. They never took 1 cent. We met every single month and sometimes more frequently. And at the end in 2022, when we decided to close the organization, every single manager was at the meeting that day, I call it, and everybody was there. Okay, so this is not a story about climate change, okay? But this is a story about disaster management. And I chose this particular project because it tells us how do we manage a disaster. And so most of you are familiar with the disaster management cycle. How do we go from the disaster? How do we respond? How do we recover? How do we prepare so that for the next disaster, God forbid that it will come, how do we prepare for that? And of course, the mitigation has to do, how do we do things differently? How do we build back better? Okay, so this, we know what the disaster was. So first of all, we came together. We didn't do it alone. It was not about AT&T Foundation. So we had to build partnerships. We started off with the congregation of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Clooney. They're all nuns, right? It's an organization that is in 62 countries all over the world. You see there's the congregation from Haiti, the congregation from Ireland, the congregation from Trinidad and Tobago, and they were all contributing. We were all working together. All the sisters were working together to find a solution to what was going on in Haiti. But as you all will also know, you cannot do it together. One organization cannot do it together. We have to do it through partnerships. So yes, we went to Haiti, but we started to link with different partnerships. So you see there, Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor was very instrumental, and they're still instrumental in this in this community, because they give them food and they also supply the instruments that you're going to see. Right? Fidesco is a Catholic organization that gives humanitarian aid, and you will see a lot of young people here. Those are people who have given their lives to go to Haiti. They only used to get like $200 US a month, but they were there, and they were from different disciplines. They were architects, they were engineers, right? And then Digicel Foundation gave us $2 million US, and they built the school for the children, which were 20 classrooms that you will see. And then Global Water Partnership that you see in there in the middle, they help us to develop watering system called rainwater harvesting, to the point whereby we do not need water. We don't get any water. There's no water, there's no water provision there. We have developed water on our property. Okay, so this is to let you know, you see monitoring and evaluation. Just to let you know, please do not forget monitoring and evaluation. You have to monitor, you have to evaluate from the beginning of the project to the end of the project, and then going forward in longitudinal studies. And so one of the things that I want you to notice, that this is the partnership team. We never did anything alone. We always sat together in a room and we would brainstorm. First of all, we will come up with solutions and we would say, okay, what is the way forward? And then we would go forward. Next slide. Okay, so the first thing that we did was the search for the land. And you see here again, different partners, okay? The young girl standing in front, she was from Fidesco, right? And the young man standing behind us, he was also from Fidesco, right? She was an architect, he was an engineer, both doing the same thing. Then you see these Irish sisters there. So they were all coming together. We wanted to know, okay, what land? Tell us about the land we should get. So we decided that we were going to buy 16 acres of land in Haiti. And so we bought the 16 acres of land. We were told that it must be flat land. It should be land around a major roadway. So we did that. And for those of you who know Haiti, this piece of land was on the foothills of Montacabri, and just outside Quadabouquet. Quadabouquet was the main town close to us. So we bought the land. This is just to let you know that the first thing that we did was that we secured the property with very thick walls. And this is the gate to the property. We decided to keep the original name of the quote unquote orphanage, but now it wasn't an orphanage anymore. We decided to get 16 acres of land and make it a sustainable project for the 600 children who would now be going to school there, and the 100 living children that we call the orphanage, but it was not really an orphanage. They just lived in, and we provided care, and we kept the same name, right? Okay, so the first thing we did, of course, is that we had the drawing plans and we got help from everybody. So you'll see there, I can't point, I'm so sorry, but on the right-hand side, the top right-hand side, that was the primary school for 600 children who came to the school. We did it in phased development. Of course, you all will all know that phases is the best way to go. Do phases so you don't get stressed out at all. You see the playground in front there. The brown thing is the playground, and you all know that kids need ground to play, and we will see how big that playground was. And then, of course, we developed in the yellow, right? We see there was IT room, there was library, yes, kitchen and everything, because it was a living facility. I will show you a little bit more. And of course, the care homes and the vocational school, which is all the way down. We never got that. It was a very sad story for us. So we're going into the recovery. Okay, so we know that we had the land and we had to build, and the whole process, we know, build back better. So build back better. What does it mean by build back better? Well, we know that Haiti is very prone to earthquakes. It's also prone to the normal things like flooding and major disasters. So there you see the guy, they're building something here. They were building, was it the school or the care homes? This is how they build. So this is an example of build back better. So on the top right-hand corner, you see where we were building the bricks. Those are concrete bricks, right? Concrete bricks, okay? Concrete bricks. And coming up in the concrete bricks, you notice some steel poles. We doubled those steel poles and we embedded them in the concrete. So when the earth shakes, we know our building is not shaking. So this was built, right, using our European technology, thanks to Fidesco. And it was built for earthquakes. Yes, so when they say there's an earthquake, I said, don't worry, not our property, we're good to go. And then on the bottom, we see that we had solar, right? So we're using renewable technology. And because we don't get electricity on the grid in Haiti, it was important that we develop our own energy source. Next slide. Okay, this is an interesting, this actually picture was taken in Port-au-Prince, right? In one of the sisters' home in the mother house. And this actually is the Form 6. It's a school. And I'm showing you the Form 6 classrooms. And this is the school the day after the earthquake. Not even a single brick was cracked. And why? Because again, they were using new it was old technology, because this school was built somewhere like 1912 or something like that. And 100 years is still standing. It survived the earthquake. Those beautiful gardens, and that's what the gardens look like the day after the earthquake. And if in the top right-hand corner, top, right, that is showing the beams. Okay, it's the same circle. You look at the red circle, you can't see but I showed you what the beams look like. And those of you who know the Twin Towers in Trinidad and Tobago, and you see the beams, so when there is an earthquake, right, the technology that they use, the buildings shake, they swing, but nothing cracks, because there are screws and opening gaps in there that would actually absorb shocks, right? So they take the shock and nothing happens to a building. It stays standing. Okay, so we knew now what we had to do when we were building the new buildings. We had to put in this kind of structures to absorb stress. So this again is part of the recovery. So I told you that I showed you the old orphanage, the damage, and it was really a little box-like structure. And I said to myself, you know what? Nothing creative could be created in a tiny box. You know, even if it started as a seed, even if you put the seed in the box, you know, they can't have a tree in a box. You need to put the tree in a soil and let it grow and expand. So we knew that we needed creativity. And that's why we got 16 acres of land. And this is why we did this structure like this. And this is why we have a large courtyard, because we knew that the kids were good in sports. We knew that children like to play. And we did this layout. We didn't do it. We got architects and engineers to help us. So this is part of the recovery. It's part of Build Better. This is actually, don't forget, this is Haiti. These are our 20 classrooms. If you see here, there are 2 doors to each classroom. The old classroom, a lot of the classrooms in Haiti, at least in the public schools or, you know, some of the schools, there's only 1 door. And in case of any emergencies, you need 2 doors. That's the basic thing you will need in a classroom. So we were able in these classrooms to get 2 doors, an indoor, 2 doors, and that will help with, in case there was any emergency, to get the kids out. Another thing I want you to notice, well, you probably can't see it, but it's on the left-hand side of the building, right? There are these ramps, right? And that, we build those ramps, right? Everywhere in the building, we have ramps. And that is so that children on wheelchairs, right? They could come into school, be a part of the school, and be very comfortable. They reach in. Okay, so this was before COVID, okay? And yet you see you got instructions about sanitation, right? And so that we were able to write on the walls what we wanted the children to do, big and bold, without telling them anything. Another part of sustainability and recovery. This is important because this is the staff quarters, right? Built very elegantly, right? But it was built big like this. And so because we wanted the teachers and we also wanted the auxiliary staff to live in. So they didn't have to go home when the evening come. They may get to go home on a weekend if they wanted to. So we didn't have to depend on them taking transport. They actually lived here and we provided accommodation for these staff. Okay, so this was the opening of the school, right, in 2015, and you see all the gleeful faces. You're hardly seeing me. I like to hide. I'm behind the white bubble on the left-hand side. Okay, but this is all our partners, and we were very happy to cut the red ribbon to open, and we bless the school. And these are the faces of our children. On the right-hand side, we had our primary school kids, right? And this on the left-hand side, we had the kindergarten children. And this we built afterwards. It's really the dining room. And that dining room holds, I think, approximately 100 to 150 to 200 children. And this was important to build this dining room because we gave the children of the school 2 meals every day. And the children who lived in, right, we gave them 3 meals a day. So it was important that they ate in comfort. And when we they will have their napkins and everything. So, we were giving them, we were elevating them, we were telling them, giving them world-class standards. And this came later, but it was very important because, Haitians are very, very talented people. They're very good with their music. They're very good with their sports. And these were brand new instruments that we got. Food for the Poor gave it to them. And if you hear these children play these instruments, right, the sax and the drums. Next slide, right? And so you would see them play the sax and the drums. That is their teacher, who he said he would stay with them for 4 years and teach them. You hear these children play, and tears came to your eyes. They came to your eyes. These are our children playing. So then you ask us, so how we raise all this money? Well, in the Haiti Foundation based in Trinidad and Tobago, we held different fundraisers, and we actually raised close to $900,000 over the time, right, which is a lot for us. But in the whole project, we raised $4 million, and we did that from capital markets. I could tell you another story about the women. The women were, and not only the women in this project, but the women on the ground, the mothers of the school. I'll tell you all that another story when we meet, because we don't have time for that today. Next.
Dr. Henry, just a reminder, you have 1 minute remaining.
Okay, so these are the strategies that we did build to build back better. You know them already. Okay, we built sustainability into everything. Okay, these are some of our success stories that you know about. Don't forget, we had 2 wells for water, and we had cisterns underground, and we collect water, rainwater harvesting from the wells. And we use that water. We sell water. We sell water. We don't buy water. We sell water. This is the care homes. Right, it is important because the children live, I don't know if it's a luxury, but there are 5 houses and so there are 5 houses, each house, 20 children, no more than 20 children. Each child has their own bed and their own bedside table, and that's how they live. Only 4 children in each bedroom. Our policy position, the main policy position that we took is that the project must be owned. It must be owned by the people. So it was owned by the convent that we're doing it for next. Okay, education was very important to us, was a premium. Okay, these are the things that we didn't get, but we really wanted. We wanted to do a farm for the kids, but the nun said no, so no means no, because they own the project. Next slide. This is the bakery, but we didn't bake bread in it because they didn't really want the bakery. They had concerns about getting it open. Fear that they would be raided. Next slide. We almost finished. This is our celebration in November 29. This is my team. This is at my home. This is okay. This is just telling you, giving you a picture. This is the last slide. This is just giving you a picture of Mary Louise, who was a big Irish nun. These are the children hugging her. And this tells the whole story. Merci beaucoup. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henry, for those eye-opening lessons. You've shown us that recovery isn't just about rebuilding structures. It's about rebuilding lives with policies that truly protect the most vulnerable. And yes, we see you guys in the chat, solar panels, crops, awesome. And yes, they do sell water. They do love that farm idea. It's important to have food security as much as possible. Keep on typing in the chat. We'll move right along to our next speaker. So our next speaker, Mrs. Nicole Joseph Chin.